In my story, Duncan made a kingdom out of an abandoned city and named himself king. He defended it with an army of plants he controls with his mind. Many would come from oppressive kingdoms, seeking freedom. Now I have to make an entire city filled with anthro-deer people and plants using Blunder and Godot. Welcome to the second devlog. So I wanted to start off by showing how I actually make a district within the city. I throw in basically these walls, but they're actually buildings, but these are the walls that keep the player in, and then I'll throw in the player into the scene as well. Next up, I put the shader that makes everything black and white except for the green parts of the screen. And then I'll throw in the world environment node, which basically just, well, it puts in the fog, it changes the saturation, all that. The reason, by the way, you can't see the shader right now is just something with Godot, I'm not sure. It's just not always running the shaders. I actually had to grab the sun from a different scene and put it in. I still haven't figured out to just make that a universal thing. Here I throw in a pause menu and a settings menu that I made myself, mostly from a tutorial though. And then I just quickly throw in the scene transition node, which basically just allows me to transition between any scene as long as I put the right name in and then the right entrance. I'll probably go into more detail about that in a later video, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. I have to also add this into another scene here, into the scene that it's actually going to transition to. And once I've done that, I can actually walk between these two districts without any problem. And I guess, well, in a second I'll go ahead and show you actually how that looks like. Another thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to work on making the navigation region. This is pretty simple. I just changed some of the settings, and then I will put all of the colliders in the scene that I want to interact with the enemies to be a child of the navigation region, and then I simply click bake and it works. Here I'm adding a temporary building because I know that I do want to have a building here, but I don't have it modeled yet, so I'm just putting one of the houses there. And then finally I put in all three enemies. I don't have to do anything more, I just throw them in the scene and they should work. Obviously this is sped up, but it took me about 5 to 6 minutes to be able to make this with all the pre-made assets, so yeah, it was pretty quick. Okay, so now that we have finished making the district, we can go ahead and test it. It's still a bit bare bones, but as you can see, the player is working, the enemies are working, we're taking damage, everything here is working perfectly fine, the gliders are also working. And now we can quickly go into the scene transition node, which will bring us to the fountain district, but there's a boss here, so let's just leave that alone. So, last thing to do is to decorate the district. So here I'm adding a house asset that I made. This is... sorry, not a house asset, this is the town hall, in fact, of the entire kingdom. I also litter in a couple benches, a couple lampposts. Those are meant to be scattered around the whole kingdom. And here I add a potted plant. I'm going to have a couple more variations, and I actually have it set up so that I can put in whatever plant I have. Here I put in a fern, test it out in the game, and I'd say it looks pretty good. Quite a while before I even actually started working on the game, you know, made the Godot project, I made a mock-up version of the kingdom within Townscaper. I already had the story in mind, and I already had the game in mind. So I made up this little mock-up of, well, the abandoned city, and I later came back to it and actually named all of the districts. I drew over them, gave them a little color. However, I may have overscoped a little bit. I don't really need these 4 districts up here. Maybe if I do have time, maybe after I finish the whole game, base game, I can actually come back to these. On the topic of future plans, I do intend to make a new devlog every 2 to 3 months, I hope. So, if you're interested in my game, if it looks cool, then please stick around, subscribe, I don't know, all that. Anyways, thanks. Bye bye.